Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. My name is David. If we have not met before, pleasure to meet you. Should you start building websites in this day and age? There are so many tools, so many no-code tools, so many solutions out there that people can use for their website. Or if they decide to not even have a website, should you learn how to design a website from a front-end developer all the way to the easiest platform out there, whatever you might think it is, like a Squarespace or a Wix? Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about if it's even worth considering at this point in time. Can you make money doing it? Can you do it as a side hustle? How hard is it to get started? I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and by the end of this video, you'll have a clear guide on what to do, where to go, and how to get started. And just one last note on this, I come from a Squarespace background. I'll talk a little bit about that right now, but I come from a Squarespace background. I love Squarespace because for the business owner and for most people, it is the easiest tool to use. You simply double click in, edit the text, click save, you're done. Webflow works kind of well, not the best, but it's a little bit there. So in some ways it works and it's easy, and they have an amazing CMS builder that's just beautiful, gorgeous, amazing, and you could customize the life out of it. But if you want to change one of the customizations for, say, a business owner, or like move stuff around, that's really complex. That's where you always need a designer to go in and make changes and adjustments. So in this case, what I recommend is Squarespace. And I am going to talk about the levels of value that you can get from these different platforms and knowing where to start. But if you have no degree, no coding experience, and no website experience at all, don't worry, that's where I started. And I'm gonna walk through how I went from there to being able to build today a $5,000 website in less than 90 minutes and getting a client review just like this. I just built this site 2 weeks ago, and this is a client review I just got. Thank you so much. This is fabulous. So happy with the first draft and can already tell that it is very easy to navigate. They said a lot more in between that, all compliments. And then from there at the end, they said, David, you are the best and so happy to be working with you. And just so we're on the same page, here's my story. I started building websites about 4 or 5 years ago. I built it for a nonprofit that I absolutely loved. I did it for free, and that started my journey to where I am today. At the time, I had no coding background, no web experience, no sales experience even, and no degree. So should you do it, and what you need to consider getting started? My answer now and at the end of the video is going to be very clear. Yes, you should. If you want to step into this field, if you want to build a side hustle, or if you want to leave your corporate job, building websites on Squarespace or any platform, but I'm going to focus on Squarespace, is a great opportunity for you to build extra income into your life on the side, on the weekends, or build it into your main hustle. If you want to spend more time with your kids, this is a great opportunity to build websites for people, make money, and have freedom and flexibility in your schedule. So the things you're gonna need to consider. Number one, you're gonna wanna be comfortable with computers. So I kind of title this as coding, but you just wanna be comfortable with computers. You don't need to know how to code right now. It's very similar to learning a language. As a kid, how did you learn a language? You didn't learn to read and write first. You learned to speak, and then over time, you learn how to read and write. And that's why Squarespace is so good, because you could learn the properties of a website, how to lay out a website, and then from there learn about flexboxes, and then learn about sections and mains and grids and layouts and all these other formalities for the back end of a website: margin, padding, radius, border radius, all these different things that you could learn about designing a website. You could figure that out later. But if you're willing and ready to get into that, this is a great opportunity. Second thing worth considering is figure out what value you want to deliver. Now, if you want to be a really amazing designer, and I think some people want this because they think that's how they make money, but I want to make a separation here. You don't necessarily have to be the best designer. And when I say designer, I mean aesthetically. You don't have to be the best aesthetic designer to build valuable sites. A valuable site could be a simple site or a site that is very clear. Remember that testimonial I read earlier? What was one of the compliments she gave? She said, it is very easy to navigate. This is something that when somebody builds a website for the first time, it's hard to figure out. It's hard for them to know what to put on the homepage versus the about page versus the services page versus the contact page. They get confused on how to start a page and end a page. What's the final section on the page versus what's the first section on the page, and then what's in between that. All of this is the design experience for a clear website or a website that's just easy to navigate. So value is separate from design. But if you want to become an amazing designer and you want award-winning websites, and that's your thing, I would push you towards something like a Webflow, because you're going to deliver value in a different way. You're going to deliver value in a way of a really gorgeous experience. It could be a website that's not necessarily designed aesthetically beautiful on Webflow, but for the most part, you will have ultimate control on a tool like Webflow, where you don't have to customize and go against the template. I think when you go against the template too much on Squarespace, for example, it just gets complicated. I don't think you should try to do everything in a Squarespace. And now I'm just kind of ranting back and forth. But what I would say is, if you want to become an aesthetic designer and that's the value you want to deliver, go towards Webflow. It's going to be a higher price point, but it's also a higher learning curve to get into it. You're going to have to learn what a div is, a text box versus a div versus a section versus a main versus like a body, and learn all of those separate tags and know how they all work together and how they stack together to build a great user experience. So in a way, what this video is, it's questions to ask, better questions to ask. Should you become a designer or not? Overall, I think it's a great opportunity. I think you can make a lot of money. A lot of people still need help on all of these tools. And this is the third point. Even if these tools become so simple, no code, drag and drop, AI setups, pre-built layouts, any of those things, if all of that comes, at the end of the day, when people need to put their own content into it and structure it and design it, they often want a professional to help them. There are some people who are savvy DIYers, know what they want, know how to bring it to life. They'll do their own thing. But there are a lot of business owners who want to focus on their business. They don't want to become website experts. They want to be business owners. And that's what my agency is here for. We want to let the business owner be the business owner, and we handle everything for their website or their SEO or their content, whatever that might be. So in this case, you building any of these things, the bigger problems that you could solve, the more value you could deliver. Again, even if it's a simple website design, if a business has challenges that they want to solve with digital, they need a Google My Business account plus a website, plus they need some other marketing efforts that you could help with, the better you can understand a formula or a flow for that business and build it for them, the more value you deliver. So let's backtrack. You could start with no code and you could learn from there. A tool like Squarespace is great because it pre-builds a lot of different components for you. Number two, if you're interested in becoming an aesthetic designer, go to something like Webflow. That is going to be way easier over time for you to control and manage everything the way you want. The learning curve is going to be a lot higher to get started, but once you figure it out, you'll be in really good shape. And just as a side note worth mentioning about that, let's say you have used Photoshop and you've learned Photoshop over the years. Learning Webflow shouldn't be too hard. And what I mean is they're built in the same way. So once you learn those formalities, you'll be in good shape. The third thing is you want to solve problems for businesses, and the better you solve problems for businesses, the more work you're going to have. Some of my biggest client projects were not businesses that needed really heavy marketing websites. All they wanted was an online brochure because they had to present themselves the right way, in a very sophisticated and professional way. And those clients are looking for a level of expertise, not that comes with some advanced features and all this cool customizations and images falling out the side, animations of things flying around on the page. What they're looking for is clean, simple, professional, and consistent. And that level of execution is something that's really valuable for them, and they'll pay extra for that. So at the end of the day, if you could solve problems for businesses, you're always going to have work within the web design world. And this is my last point. If you learn how to build websites and if you learn how to code, you learn how the internet works. And if you know how the internet works, you learn how to build a business in a day. I cringe. It hurts me so much when I see people who have these huge business ideas, but they don't even know how to get started. And I think being scrappy is so important to get started, to put things out there and see how they trigger what I think could be huge, the world might not want. But what I think could be like, maybe I put it out there and people absolutely love it. You never know until you put it out there. So learning how to design websites, learning these no-code tools for yourself. You're getting paid to train from clients. Clients are paying you. They're paying you so you learn how to work the software better and better and better. But then over time, you could build whatever you want. And that's why I'm working on building a Squarespace design community. So if you want to become a designer and build sites on Squarespace, this is not just about the technical side. I'll help you with the technical side. I'll provide plugins, code, all this stuff. But really where the value comes is in the mindset. If you have the mindset right, you know how to work with a client, you know how to say no to a client, you know how to push a client a completed project when they're dragging their feet because they're afraid of launching. If you know how to do those things, you will have full control of your financial future because you're able to create new opportunities anytime somebody needs a website, or if you want to create your own website for yourself. So the final thing, should you do it at this point in time? Yes, 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 yes. So check the links down below. I will provide resources for you. And over time, we're going to figure out the best way to package this. I have not put this in a package yet, but figuring out the best way to put this into a package. So if you want to become a designer, you want to design websites, you want to build a new career, you want to build an extra 5K on the side each month on a 90-minute website while you still work your corporate job and while you still enjoy your life, this content is for you. So please hit that like button, consider subscribing, and with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.